On today's show, we're going under the surface to showcase an annual multi-agency survey of one of Oklahoma's rarest aquatic species, the leopard darter. From the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, Outdoor Oklahoma.
Hi everybody, welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma, or should I say Underwater Oklahoma. As you've seen at the top of the show, we're going to show you a different side of Oklahoma on today's show. We're going to show you a lot of video that we collected from our underwater camera. And last summer I got a chance to tag along with a group of biologists conducting a special survey down in southeast Oklahoma, and joining me now is Curtis Taggett. Curtis, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I got a chance to tag along with you and some other folks with the Wildlife Department and some other agencies on a special survey down in McCurtain County. Tell us about it.
Okay, so each summer we partner up with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the National Forest Service,
right? And
we do monitoring surveys for the threatened leopard darter. It's a small 3 to 4 inch stream fish that whose populations have been impacted by habitat alteration.
Okay. Neat fish, occupies, like in Oklahoma, the Glover River, Mountain Fork River, Little River. There may be some others that I'm forgetting. And then I guess extends over into Arkansas too, right?
That's right. The range extends into southwest Arkansas, the Cossatot River, Robinson Fork. So it's got a very limited range.
Right. Well, we are coming to you today from Frank's Underwater Sports Shop here in Edmond, and I guess that you're getting geared up for this year's survey, getting the tank filled with air and all. Hopefully I can figure out an excuse to tag along with you, because that was a lot of fun. You know, the water clarity down there is just incredible.
It is.
And I don't know that area is really particularly known by scuba divers. It ought to be, because, man, I mean, there was places where we could see, I don't know, 20 feet, maybe 25 feet, which is pretty incredible as far as Oklahoma scuba diving goes and so forth. But this survey, we've been doing it every year. It's one of those things that I guess you can't conduct this survey without getting in there with them, right?
Right. We've got to actually get in the water and snorkel or scuba dive, which I'm not complaining about.
No, heck
but
no.
Because these fish don't have swim bladders, we can't electrofish for them because they won't float to the top. So we've actually got to get in the water and do point count surveys for them.
Sure. Well, lots of fun, and let's learn more about the annual survey for leopard darter.
Ouachita Uplift is a slight rise in elevation from the coastal plain, and the leopard darter is native to that area, and we've got the most amount of rain in the state occurs in this area, and it's given rise to a lot of rivers and streams and a lot of drainage, and that's where this fish inhabits. It can't make it in these big lakes and reservoirs, probably due to predation from other species. And it's also very, very tied, the leopard darter, to the large rubble-sized substrates that are found in this area. And we've had one of the contributing factors to it being so rare is the fact that we've built reservoirs over the top of some of its prime habitat. And the fish can't compete with the predators under these situations, so it takes big chunks of what were historically a part of its range out of play, and really limits the distribution of this fish, and thus we've had to take steps, the Threatened and Endangered Species Act being one of them, to help maintain and secure the fact that we're going to have this fish for generations to come. The Glover drainage is the only drainage that doesn't have a reservoir on it, and the Endangered Species Act and the fact that this fish is threatened, it's probably blocked an additional dam on the Glover drainage. So because we need to maintain that habitat for this fish.
The leopard darter was listed in 1978 as a federally threatened species, and critical habitat in much of the Little River drainage was designated also at that time. The species was listed primarily due to destruction to habitat that's essential for the species, and the primary factor that's caused effects to habitat is the development of these reservoirs throughout the Little River drainage. And pretty much all of the major tributaries except for one, which is the Glover River, have been dammed up, which has resulted in fragmentation of the species. So they no longer, within the Little River drainage, they can no longer mix with each other, which is what historically the species used to do. And from a genetic perspective, that's resulted in a pretty significant loss of diversity throughout the population and between these different tributaries. And it's something that we're looking at a little bit closer to determine what the potential effects are. And for example, one system that we're going to be going to, the diversity within that system in the Costat River is really, really low. And so it's, again, something that we're keeping our eye on in addition to monitoring the species and just looking at population shifts. We've also taken some fin clips from the leopard darter, and we've done the genetic analysis, and we've had Dr. E. Kelly at Oklahoma State do that work for us. And so we're using that information also to determine how to manage the species in the future. We've been conducting these surveys since 1992, so quite a long time. And we've got partners with the Forest Service and with Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation with us. And pretty much what we're doing is out monitoring the species. The species has population shifts on an annual basis, so we're out trying to determine how well the population is doing each year, and it kind of shifts up and down every year. So we're out here to kind of keep an eye on the population, and we have over 150 sites that we survey, which are kind of what we call rotational sites, and that's what we're doing this week.
We're going to rejoin our survey team a little later in today's show, but now let's check in with somebody who's logged more underwater hours than any Oklahoman, Frankie Campbell. He's going to share his top picks for scuba diving in the Sooner State.
You know, it's kind of funny because Frank's Underwater Sports Shop, we're 58 years old, and we're one of the oldest scuba stores in the world, and everyone thinks Dust Bowl State. We go to meetings and stuff around the world, and people are like, Oklahoma, it's the Dust Bowl State. Where do you go diving there? There's no water there. And yet we've got some of the best places for diving just locally from Oklahoma. Within 2 to 4 hours of Oklahoma City, there's some great diving destinations, and some a little bit closer at times. Lake Tenkiller has been one of the most popular lakes in Oklahoma forever, and it's one of the lakes that most people in Oklahoma grew up going up to Tenkiller and enjoying it topside, but don't realize it's such a popular diving lake with the diversity underneath the water of seeing the different trees and stuff. In fact, there's an underwater scuba park up at Lake Tenkiller. There's an airplane, helicopters, boats and stuff underneath there, and right off Tenkiller State Park's right off the shoreline, so it's a great place to go to. Lake Murray's a real popular lake that's down by the Arbuckle Mountains, and of course with the mountain lakes and streams and stuff, we get some great visibility there. Broken Bow in the southeastern part of the lake, where you talk about the streams and stuff to go and do the different fish counts. Broken Bow is just one of the great lakes in Oklahoma that it's really special for divers to find crystals and stuff underneath the water, but it's a great friendly part of Oklahoma that's totally different than other parts of the state if people haven't been in the southeastern part of the Oklahoma. And the diving's great down there, and certainly the streams and rivers down there are great for snorkeling. So we enjoy going to those places. And then one of our little favorites is down by Lawton, Oklahoma, on the south side of Mount Scott in the Wichita Mountains. There's a little lake called Lake Elmer Thomas. It's just a small little fishing lake and a great little diving lake there in the wildlife refuge. And it's from here at the store here in Edmond, it's only 90 minutes to the water, and everyone enjoys going down there and going diving. We actually take a lot of new divers down there, and after they've gotten comfortable in the water, we actually go out and we hand feed the catfish and the bass and the perch and stuff. And that's been a lot of fun because people don't imagine little catfish swimming up to them or bass swimming up to them and hand feed them with little hot dogs. So we enjoy doing that. And of course, if you go that part of Oklahoma, you got to go to Mears, Oklahoma and get a Longhorn burger, because that's just a great way to finish up a great day in Oklahoma diving. One of the neatest experiences we've had is you're out there diving at the lake and you're going along, and all of a sudden, because of our bubbles or what we're doing, we'll all of a sudden get a group of sand bass spinning around us and stuff. You got these, they're just circling you, just like a bait ball that you see on TV. You know, when you watch these fishing shows and stuff, we have this bait ball circling us, and they'll check us out, and then after a minute or two, they're gone. And we learn to take some rocks and click them together, and those rocks clicking together, you know, they get curious and they come back and check out, and we can get them again. So that's always been a lot of fun to go and do that.
I want to thank Frankie Campbell for those Sooner State scuba diving tips and destinations. And this is one of our newest additions to our equipment that we use for Outdoor Oklahoma. This is an underwater housing with an HD camera, and got to use it on that survey. Hope to use it a whole lot more and show you a different side of Oklahoma. We're going to rejoin our survey team right after this week's Outdoor News Report.
I view it, you know, these species are what I consider indicator species. And they're, especially leopard darters, they're very rare in the first place. And so when we're out monitoring the population, if we start to see the species disappear, for example, from some areas, then you start wondering what's going on within that watershed. And one thing we've noticed, for example, is some impacts to water quality. So I think the leopard darter is a good example of if you see declines in the species, then there's something going on with that watershed, whether it's water quantity or water quality. And so it's a good indicator. If you know something's going on with that species, then something's going on with the watershed that you should be concerned about.
Also endemic to the Ouachita uplift is a particular strain of smallmouth bass, the Ouachita strain of the smallmouth bass, and that's endemic to this drainage. And it's a species or a fish that really prefers the streams and rivers of this part of the world, and it's not found anywhere else in the world. And a lot of people come here to pursue that fish so recreationally.
Well, folks, we are back here at Frank's Underwater Sports Shop in Edmond with Curtis Taggett. Curtis, there's no substitute for learning how to scuba dive and getting in some of these streams up close and personal, as you have done. But maybe the next best thing is something that we are now offering in this poster. We are giving this poster out to any state teachers that want to drop by our headquarters, and we're going to give them this Oklahoma Streams poster that one of your co-workers had a major hand in doing. Tell us about that.
That's right. Brandon Brown is a fisheries technician, and he is nationally known for his underwater photography and videography, and he put this poster together for teachers to use.
It's a great poster, and actually all the same information that's on this poster is now available on our website, and we've actually created a link there which ties into several of Brandon's videos.
That's right.
Some incredible footage, and in the time that we have remaining on today's show, let's take a look at some of Brandon's underwater Oklahoma.